Okay. All right. Let's start.
Where are we?
We are Perek Aleph, Pasuk Chet. We finished last
So Adam,
shiur.
Adam, we lost Stephen.
He's gonna hop on, but he said he doesn't want to hold us up, so just do your thing.
Okay.
Okay. Just a message.
So now this pasuk refers to all the efforts that are done under the sun. So under the neshama. All these things, all these things are toiling, are wearisome. Lo yuchal ish ledaber.
Yegeim is under the sun?
Yes. No. Yegeim means to toil or worry, wearisome. You know, it wears out a person. So, but what are we referring to? All the efforts and the work a person does with the layers of his nefesh and ruach, meaning without his neshama. So whatever he does under the sun wears off the person. It makes the person weaker, older, more vulnerable. Okay. Lo yuchal ish ledaber. You can never actually speak about it or try someone for it, because no matter what the person does, at the end of the day, it's a question of time before he gets forgotten. Meaning, you can build the nicest building, you can make the best party, you can build the nicest car. At the end of the day, it will be forgotten. Okay? It's a question of time. Lo tizva ayin lirot, the eye never stops from, it doesn't get, it's never enough to see. Velo timmale ozen mishemoah, and you can never fill the ear from listening, from hearing. Meaning, no matter what you see, you will always want to see more. No matter what you hear, you're going to want to hear more. So comes Shlomo HaMelech and says that one of the flaws of living life with emotions, living life with reaction and instinct, is that you're set in a dynamic where you never feel satisfied. You have this car, you're going to want a better car. You have this house, you're going to want another house. You have this watch, you're going to want another watch. You have these shoes, you want another pair of shoes. You want this building, it's not enough. You're in this city, you need another city. No matter what, you're going to keep on growing. Meaning the void, the vacuum that of desire, of need, of control is a reaction to the fact that there is no neshama involved in your life. That everything that motivates a person, or the driving force of the person, is his nefesh and his ruach, his instinct, and his emotions. That's what drives him. Ma shaya hu sheyeh, u'ma shena'asa. So whatever ma shaya, what happened is what will happen. U'ma shena'asa hu ma sheyaseh. What has already been done is what will be done again. And there's nothing new, okay, beneath the sun. Here, Shlomo HaMelech continues explaining himself, and he said, look, what is your motivation? Create something, to become a big philosopher, big creator. Mashaya, you should know that what was already, that means it's going to happen again. In a different form, in different shape, but it will be happening again. I mean, there's no loss of energy, there's just transfer of energy. And if you found something that was done that was amazing, whatever will happen tomorrow is based on something that already happened. What does that mean? Here, the Gemara says that we're talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he created the world with all its wisdom, okay, with all its technology, with all its potential, everything. Now, and we know that and destroyed them for a long time until he finally created this world and decided that this is the world he wants to share himself with.
So anything we're seeing today was created from Hashem, just a new iteration.
It was already created. Everything has been created. Everything has been implemented.
Rob, what's the purpose of him saying that? What's the message he's trying to convey by saying that?
Don't think you're going to create anything or generate anything new with this behavior. The only way you can create, again, en hadash, there's nothing new under the sun. Above the sun, there is.
Right. Okay.
And that's the hidushim of the Torah. Meaning, if you want to create light, if you want to be creative, if you want to be you want to be impactful in history, you need your neshama. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that only the Torah, okay, will be the new, the hidush. Anything you do with your neshama can yield a chidush. Meaning, there might have been some things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought to the world that nobody ever tapped into, right? And if you live with your neshama, maybe you will be able to understand something and bring it to life, and now brought a potential into a reality.
Yes. Are you leaving the idea of living with your neshama kind of for the end, where you want to dive into it, or is it something that can be answered in a sentence or two?
What do you mean?
Because I'm trying to understand what the concept of living with your above the sun with your neshama.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean? What does that entail?
Well, what it means. So the definition of living with your neshama is having a driving
force.
Okay, that is your intellect and your ability to differentiate between the truth and the false. That's the neshama according to the Rambam.
Okay, so that's the definition. So the definition of the Shema is I'm sorry, true and false, or true and good?
True and good.
Well, it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. Obviously, it's more difficult to differentiate between true and good than true and false, right?
Right. Okay.
So
it's emet. Acting with your neshama is emet.
Biduk.
Got it. Okay.
So, okay. So here Shlomo Melech is making a statement. Okay. What he wants to say is that if you want to be impactful, whether it's with your family, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's in your job, whether it's in your Torah, whether it's in your well-being, you need this ability, this power that differentiates between the good, the true and the false, the true and the good, vibrant and alive, in order for you to be meaningful, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's like Rashi brings from Masechet Chagiga that Rabbi Eliezer ben Orkenus says, "Dvarim shelo shematan ozan b'maaseh merkava." He says, "I will teach you something, things that no ear has heard until now." So Rashi explains, says, you see that if you are alive with your neshama, you can bring out secrets of the Torah that has never been revealed to humanity. And the Torah has been around for 3,000 years, right? This is the power. So Rashi says, if you're able with your neshama to bring down the light of the Torah, light of wisdom, okay, that has never been revealed before, Kal vachomer, it's obvious that with this power you can generate amazing in the physical world. Good?
That's why he ultimately asked for wisdom.
Correct.
Originally asked for wisdom.
Correct.
No?
Correct. Okay, let's continue. יש דבר שיאמר ראה זה, חדש הוא. Okay, sometimes there's like there are situations where they say, look, this is new. Like you see something, I don't know, when the iPhone came out, or when the phone came out, or when the car, this is new, right? יש דבר שיאמר ראה זה, חדש הוא, look at it, it's new. כבר היה לעולמים אשר היה מלפנינו. It's a mistake. It already occurred times before that came before us. Again, here Shlomo HaMelech reinstates and reinforces the fact that what is new to you in the whole humanity is considered old. It's not new. So here we have.
Okay. How could that be, Ralph? I mean, you say new iPhone. I mean, it just did different iterations.
Do you know the technology that they had it at the time of Egypt?
No.
Why? Do you have a crane today that can build the pyramid?
No.
We don't know.
Right.
We don't know. We have no idea what technologies came before. We don't. So it's not like we don't have any tools to measure what is considered new and what is considered old. Comes Shlomo HaMelech and says, do not get fooled by what new seems to you.
Because that's subjective again.
Exactly. Because the second you get, if it's new, you're like, wow. If it's wow, it's a reaction. If it's a reaction, it's emotion. It's the nefesh, it's the ruach. Tachat hashemesh. So do not get wowed. Do not get impressed by anything new that you see. And it's a tremendous lesson. Because if you understand that no matter what amazing car is going to come out, if you're not wowed, then you put things in perspective. Think about it. It's a tremendous yesod. It allows you to control your interaction with the physicality. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Shlomo went, dived to the core of things. He's giving us practical tools to be able to be in control and not be swallowed or influenced by how quick technology, how quick the world goes.
Because the second you react,
once you detach that, okay, then you don't get impressed. Once you detach that, you don't get influenced. When you detach that, nothing really matters at that point. I mean, you're no longer under inside the system. You choose what you want from the system.
Right. But that doesn't necessarily mean, even if you get to that point, let's say you buy a new iPhone, are you now violating that theory?
No. But people want the new iPhone because it's the newest. Okay? I know him for 20 years. Every time there's a new Samsung he's the first one who has it. He needs to have the newest phone. Okay? Some people, they need to have the newest car. It has to be. It has the newest pair of shoes, the newest... Look, every one of us is somewhat like that. I want this, I want that, I want to have the coolest shoes, I want to have the coolest watch, I want to have the coolest this, okay? The new. And what motivates and fuels the consumer's world? I need to bring something new, right? That's the biggest chidush there. Is that if I can create fast enough new things, then I'm always keeping people connected. The second I become old news, finished. I move to something else. That's the philosophy of Apple. to keep everybody to, that there's something new coming.
Well, actually, they also got a lawsuit saying that they break down their computers before they come out with the new ones. But that's separate.
That's already a setup. Yeah. But what do you see that as long as you focus on the new, you're hooked.
And you're on a never-ending track.
Yeah,
exactly.
For instance,
you're never satisfied.
They released a new keyboard last night. It's nothing new, but it had me hooked on the website. It's crazy.
Actually, it is. It's pretty damn good. I'm using it right now.
The new keyboard?
The one for the iPad.
Yeah.
You got
guys,
it?
it's unbelievable.
I know. It's
the next level.
I know. You see?
You got it already?
Yes,
guys, I'm using it right now. It's next level.
You got it already?
Yeah.
I thought it just came out pre-order.
No, I ordered it like 2 weeks ago.
With the keyboard? With
there's a mouse. There's a mouse on it on the iPad.
Wow. The exact opposite of this class we're talking about right now.
Oh my God, Rob!
It's okay.
So
you can buy the goods.
No. I heard about it. I saw it. It looks amazing.
It looks incredible.
Not very convenient. It looks very convenient because you can play with the screen. But here you go. Now,
check your WhatsApp.
If you have it, what?
Check your WhatsApp. I sent the picture.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like a laptop.
Oh, forget about it.
Rob, it's right up your alley. It's very you.
Yes. So here you go. For example, now if you want the upgrade because it's working, because it's better, because it's more efficient, it's one thing. But if you want it because it's new and you understand there's a fine difference.
By the way, I debated because my iPad is a generation behind. So I debated getting the new iPad. You know what? For $200, I'll get the keyboard and I'll feel like I have the new one. I'm good.
But now you have a missing thing in the back over there on the camera.
What do you mean? So what? Who cares?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Oh, come on. I have an iPad.
So
3 years old. I love it.
I don't use my iPad for my camera. I use it for productivity.
Anyway, it's gorgeous.
So that's the okay. So that's the message. The message is not don't get hooked, because if you're hooked, if you get influenced by the impact of what's new, if the concept of new is something that is in your brain, by default you are hooked, you are dependent. So crash the concept of new. And then he continues, and zichron harishonim, okay? The earlier ones, right? The old ones are not remembered. V'gam la'acharonim sheyihu lo yeh lahem zikaron. But you should know that the later ones, the next generations, them also they're going to get forgotten. Im sheyihu la'acharona.
But Rob, forget a physical object for a second. We said the other day that you can leave behind a legacy. So is this true to the legacy as well?
What do you mean?
Meaning that also they will be forgotten. Will the legacy be forgotten too?
If a legacy is built based on the neshama, and right, we say, how do you build the legacy? The legacy you build it.
It's emet.
Only through the emet, and the emet is with the neshama. What we said is that with the neshama, not only you impact the spiritual world, but you impact also the physical world. That stays for good forever. So he says, so the earlier generations are not remembered, and so too the ones that will come later also won't be remembered. The only one that won't need to be remembered is the last generation, because there's nobody afterward, right? So again, now what Shlomo Amelech is doing is taking the concept of new that keeps you going, okay, and now he's adapting it to the ego of the person, okay. Why do you want to create something new? Why do you want to have something new? To feel socially important,
yes,
right? So that's why you need something new. So he says, okay, no problem. But listen, you're going to get everything. You're going to do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, nobody remembers the old generations for that. And nobody will remember your generation in 100, in 50 generations. In 10 generations, nobody will know who you are. Okay? So until the end. So unless you're the last generation, forget about it. Forget about it. Stop running after, thinking that you can create, you can dent something. Again, don't forget, we're talking about the nefesh and the ruach, right? You can create something that will last throughout time. Why should we want to have something that lasts throughout time? Why? For what reason? If you ask any atheist, he will tell you, listen, we're like animals, right? We die and finish.
For future generations to continue to build off of the platform.
Oh, Chazak, going back to what Adam was saying. Exactly. What lasts and what is remembered is your deed, your actions, right? The emet that you brought to the world. So if you're able to create a legacy, that legacy becomes part of your family, becomes a tradition. So this stays. You know, I can't, in our family, yeah, we go all the way back, okay, to Rabbi Chaim Vital, to the Don Abravanel, and David HaMelech. We have like the family tree, all the way to David HaMelech. And what do we know about, what do I know about my great-great-great-grandfather? What do I know? I don't know nothing. I don't even know what he looks like. All I know is the books that he wrote, or the stories that are told about his actions. Mm-hmm. That's it. And then as we go up, all we have is the writings, and the writings, and the writings, and the Torah, and the Kedusha. And there's one common denominator from the Ari HaKadosh, the Arizal, all the way down is Shmirat HaEnaim and Kedusha. That's it. Now the definition of Kedusha at their time is not the definition of Kedusha at my time. It's so different worlds, yeah? But that's the message that was passed on. That's what was kept. So if we understand that if you're able to sacrifice yourself for something you believe in, and it's emet, it's passed on and passed on and passed on and passed on and passed on. And 500 years later, 500 years later, you know, your generation will be talking about the same thing. It's a different version. It's a more diluted version, but the message is the same. You understand?
So can I just quote you again? If you're able to create a legacy, that legacy stays as a family tradition, correct?
Yes.
If it's a good legacy and the correct. Generation under you understands it and they want to keep to it, it should.
But that's no. If you're able to, if you sacrifice yourself, that's a key word. If you sacrifice yourself to build a legacy,
and I guess sort of turn it into a tradition
based on emet, it becomes a family tradition.
Right. I love that.
Okay. So now, until now, we spoke about the introduction. Now, Shlomo HaMelech will start talking more on a. It's not on the third person, but he's going to be talking now. Okay. All right. So now we like, if you want, we close.
Right.
A chapter, a subject.
This is the foundation. Now he's really getting into it.
אני קהלת הייתי מלך על ישראל בירושלים. I am Kohelet. I was king of Jerusalem in Israel. ונתתי את ליבי לדרוש ולתור בחוכמה. And I took upon myself, I was thinking in my heart, לדרוש, to talk, ולתור, and to probe, right? To probe in the wisdom, על כל אשר נעשה תחת השמיים, for everything that happened under the sky, not under the sun, under the sky. הוא עניין רע נתן אלוהים לבנם לענות בו.
Under the sky is above the sun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
An unhappy endeavor that Hashem gave man to be concerned with. Meaning, Akadosh Baruch Hu put us in a place, in an unhappy place, okay, for us to be busy with. And I decided to inquire all the facets of this world, all those different endeavors, all the different businesses, that we are troubled with. Good?
Yep.
I observed all the actions that were done under the sun. Again, under the neshama. You see, once you understand what the sun means, you see how meaningful it becomes.
Yeah.
Right.
Huh?
Hey, go ahead, continue.
Everything is hevel, is futile, and all you're doing is that you're pursuing wind. Yeah. You're running after things that are completely baseless,
valueless.
So, all right. So again, באופן שכל מה שישמח האדם בהם הוא ראות רוח, כי הוא בזה רואה וניזון ברוח בלבד, כעניין נפרעים רואה רוח. Says the Seforno says the following. He says, even whatever makes you happy, whatever you feel satisfied, whatever you think you're accomplished, right? At the end, it's that experience is like the wind. It comes, you feel it, and it disappears.
Right. That's what they say the difference between happiness and fulfillment is. Happiness is fleeting. You could be there in a minute and go in a minute, and fulfillment stays with you.
Stay with you. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what he's referring to. He says all the satisfactions, all the emotions, but be careful. Here, even the fulfillment under the sun, at the end of the day, it's also like a ruach.
Right.
Okay? מעוות לא יוכל לתקון. It's something that's completely מעוות, that's twisted, that's crooked, okay? לא יוכל לתקון, something you cannot fix. בחסרון לא יוכל להימנות. And something missing, a lack of something that cannot be made good, that cannot be filled, that cannot be changed. Meaning, be aware that there is inside of you a trend, a desire, a necessity, a part of your essence that cannot be changed, that will always be there to pull you towards the futility, the futilities of the world, of the creation. I mean, don't try to think that there is something you can just erase. No, it's something you have to live with, that you have to understand, that you have to analyze, that you have to control. It's not something you can throw under the rug and think it's never going to come out.
But control it with the way you control it is you have to have the mindset of emet, and that's the way you
right.
can.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Right. It's not something you can eradicate completely. It's just something that you need to harness.
The only person, says the Rambam, that actually completely eradicated it and completely erased it is Moshe Rabbeinu.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right, because he completely absolved himself of any responsibility but for the responsibility of Hashem.
That's right. He had no more senses, no more emotions, right. Nothing. He became an angel inside the body of a man. That's it. So I started inquiring. I started talking to myself. I've grown to become bigger, to become richer, to become more powerful. I became wiser. Wiser, smarter than anyone that came in Yerushalayim before me. And my heart saw a lot of chokhmah and da'at. Now there is a definition that we need to make clear here. When Libi, when he talks about my heart, okay? So when he says my heart saw a lot of chokhmah and da'at,
Previous generation?
no, it doesn't add up. Because how can the heart, which is emotion, okay, see a lot of wisdom and knowledge? The knowledge and the wisdom is in the brain. It's not in the heart.
His things, the heart can mean the things that he's nature to, that he can control.
Again, it can mean what? I'm sorry?
It can mean the things that he's by designed by nature to like or want, no?
The things that are designed by nature?
Forget it.
No, I want to understand what you mean.
The lev, we were saying with the sentence beforehand that let me gather my thought. You continue.
So here Shlomo HaMelech, Rashi says, עכשיו שירדתי מגדולתי, אני נותן ליבי לאמור, מי יאמר עליי שאבוא לידי מידה זו? Says Rashi, he says, הגדלתי, okay? I became big, והוספתי חוכמה, right? And I acquired wisdom more than anyone previously in Yerushalayim. וליבי ראה הרבה חוכמה ודעת, and my heart saw a lot of wisdom and knowledge and wisdom. Says Rashi, all this happened when Shlomo HaMelech was exiled, when he was no longer under the ruling of Jerusalem. When he was pushed aside, okay, and he didn't have the power, he came to this realization that all this power that he got, okay, at the end of the day, what was he left with? What did his heart was appeased with?
Wisdom.
The chokhmah and the wisdom. Says Shlomo, I became the most powerful man, the wisest man. But at times where I cannot feel comfortable or feel reassured of the power that I have, I am left for my heart to look at, for my emotions to get appeased with. All I have is knowledge and wisdom. Comes Shlomo and basically tells us that if you want an emotional comfort, at the end of the day, it's not with how much you have in your bank account. It's not with how many people work for you, or how many businesses you have, or how much power you have, or how many bodyguards you have, or it has to do with how much wisdom and knowledge you really carry. Because that's the only thing that you keep that can never be taken away from you. So if you need to feel secure, comes Shlomo HaMelech, the security, your emotional well-being and security relies on how much wisdom and knowledge you acquire. And he says, "Va'etena libi lada'at chokhmah." I gave, okay, and so I set my mind, right?
I'm sorry, which pasuk are you in? I got a little lost.
Yud Zayin.
Now we're Yud Zayin.
Okay.
Are we good with Tet Zayin? We're good with that pasuk?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay. Va'etna libi lada'at chokhmah. So I decided, right? I made a decision. I decided. Now again, it's a decision, an aware decision, an awareness. The awareness is a balance and a coexistence between the mind and the heart. It's when the heart and the mind are together one. That's called being aware. So it's like I made an aware, conscious decision, la da'at chokhmah, right? To understand better the chokhmah. I need to understand it. Now be careful. There is, in the pasuk before, there is chokhmah vada'at, knowledge and wisdom. Now he says, I decided to proactively understand the chokhmah. You understand? It's different.
No, explain it.
We have the understanding and you have knowledge. Knowledge is one thing, and understanding wisdom is another thing.
Isn't wisdom the ability to decide what to do?
Yes, that's called da'at.
Right.
Okay, so your ability to know what to do depends on how much knowledge you have, information you have. So you have
that's why we ask for chokhmah, bina,
vada'at, exactly. So comes Shlomo Melech. He said, I proactively decided to understand, to start putting wisdom into my knowledge, to become wise of my knowledge. Veda'at, kolelot, v'tichlut. And now I want to understand also the madness and the sichlut, the foolishness, yeah, the foolishness. ידעתי שגם זה הוא רעיון רוח, and I learned that this also is the pursuit of the wind, meaning of wind. Meaning what Shlomo HaMelech did, he said, I want to start analyzing, understanding, knowing, okay, not only what's positive and what's great, but also the crazy people, the craziness, the fools. I want to be able, I decided that I want to understand everyone. I want to see everything. I want to taste everything. Okay? I need to feel it and taste it. Yani, yeah?
Yeah.
At the end, שגם זה, הנה, ידעתי, and I learned, and I understood, שגם זה הוא רעיון רוח, that this also was a waste of time. Meaning, a lot of people come and this is very deep. Shlomo HaMelech says, we have inside of us a rationale, okay? A rationale that makes you, or allows your brain to accept, to do certain things, even though you know they're wrong. And you rationalize, okay? And part of the rationalization or process to do something you know is wrong, to get close to something you know is bad. But the only way you can do it is through your brain to accommodate the action or to rationalize it. Okay? It's just say, well, I need to understand, I've never done it, you have to see everything, you have to try everything. Well, how do you know it's not good until you actually do it? When, it's okay to get hurt, it's okay to fail. And then we start building off the concept of, in order to stand, you have to fall, right? The comfort zone of getting closer to something that's bad. Says Shlomo HaMelech, even that is wrong. It's foolish. It's something that doesn't yield anything.
Why this looks like America and this looks like America?
Very good, you're right. This is, let me see.
This is America.
This is Liberia. This is in Africa. This is not America. There's only one star. Here there's 52 stars. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. That was very cute.
My son just asked a beautiful question. He said, how come there's two flags that look exactly the same? It's Liberia and America. Just that Liberia is one star instead of the 52 stars, I guess. I don't know why.
Wow.
Very cute.
Okay. So comes Shlomo HaMelech, ve'etena libi lada'at chokhmah. So I decided to it's very important because let's take the beginning of that pasuk and the end of that pasuk. It goes, it's like he takes a tangent. He starts by saying, I decided to start inquiring and analyzing, okay, wisdom, knowledge, okay? And part of that, meaning part of the knowledge that I wanted to understand is the knowledge of the fools and of the mads.
To see if what he thought was actually accurate?
I'm sorry?
He
to understand, not just to understand it. To understand it. To understand the madness, to understand
their mindset.
Yeah, what שגם זה, and he says, ידעתי שגם זה הוא רעיון, it's a crazy idea. The idea was messed up. So Shlomo HaMelech says, be careful. Be careful from your knowledge, from your wisdom, okay, that seems to be the intellect, that will trick you to make you believe that it's okay intellectually to engage with negativity, with bad things. Because at the end, the ra'ayon, the thought, the idea is like the wind, it's crazy. Ki berov chokhmah, rov ka'as, because when you have, as your chokhmah grows, the more your chokhmah grows, the more your anger grows.
Because you understand it.
And the wiser you are, the more painful life becomes. So comes Shlomo, and that's how he concludes the first perek. Says Shlomo HaMelech something fantastic. He says, even in your growth of chokhmah, even in your growth of knowledge and of wisdom, you have to be careful with what you can bear and carry and what will end up harming you. Don't think that wisdom and knowledge is a free-for-all. Just take everything. No, you have to be very selective, very careful. Because with knowledge, the more you know, the more you're going to get, the more vexation, the more you're going to get upset. You're going to get upset.
But how are you supposed to know? How are you supposed to know before you acquire the wisdom? What's going to hurt you? What's going to help you?
Oh, so very good. So he says, you need to have, you have categories. Okay, you have the knowledge of the wise. You have the knowledge of the fools. You have the knowledge of the good. You have the knowledge of the bad. You have the knowledge. This is like the Rambam says. You don't need to market something that's marketed already. That's known. Yeah, you don't need to publish something that's already known.
Okay.
People know what's good and what's bad. Okay? People know what's good and what's bad. The question is, how much do you want to intellectually get close to it?
Mm-hmm.
So he says, if you have to choose, first of all, he says, look, let me tell you something. You have inside of you a tendency that by default will force you to go and be driven towards futilities. So know that. Now, once you understand that, keep in mind that you also have an intellect and a brain, okay? And that brain will collaborate with the nefesh and the ruach, with that tendency. It will collaborate. So he says, be careful, because if you think that this is completely detached, that your chokhmah, your intellect is completely detached from your futile needs, it's wrong. It's wrong because you will eventually want to understand it. You're going to want to understand the negative, the darkness, not the futility, the darkness of the futility. But what at the end, all you did is waste your time. And not only you wasted your time, okay,
yeah.
You end up getting hurt and getting hurt. You emotionally. And intellectually, you're gonna get
frustrated,
upset,
frustrated, yeah,
frustrated.
So
let me ask
basically,
you a question. At what point in Shlomo's life did the meter turn, towards this, this real truth and emet of wisdom? Because if you talk about somebody who lived a life where he acquired all the riches in the world, he had all the most horses in the world, there was women in the world, then he was clearly living with emotion at that time. So at what point did that, kind of flick where he really started living in emet?
It's a very good question. In point of time, I don't know if the only it's hard to answer because when he wrote Shir HaShirim, it was at his peak. When he wrote Kohelet, is when he was at his lowest.
Right.
And you cannot discount one over the other, right? They're both tremendously powerful. I think that Shlomo always was at the level of Emet, because you cannot be Shlomo and do what you do without the Emet. The question is are you in a personal journey? Or are you now, after completing that journey, ready to pass it over? I think that until Kohelet, he was in his own journey. Kohelet is now I've acquired everything. I've understood, mastered everything. Now it's time to convey everything to the Kahal.
Was the purpose of him acquiring everything, let's call it under the sun, right? Was the purpose of it to really get to the emet? Because unless you acquire it, you maybe can't get to it.
So okay. So yeah, I mean, the answer is yes, because based on this pasuk, what does he say? He said, I thought to myself, let's go and inquire and learn about the darkness of life, right? About the madness, about the craziness, the
Right. It seems like he's experimenting.
Yes, he did. He did. Right. Because of his chokhmah, because of the chokhmah that he had.
Right.
Okay? It's not your chokhmah and my chokhmah. It's the chokhmah of Shlomo HaMelech who understood the veins of the earth. Right. Who knew how trees interact, how animals speak.
Right. Okay? I think there's a big misnomer that people have. You know, when you hear Shlomo HaMelech, I know I had it at least. You heard Shlomo HaMelech, he was the greatest king, and he had the most horses, and he had the most gold and silver, and he had all these things. And you kind of feel like, okay, here's a guy that, let's just call it in the modern day, was like an incredibly successful businessman, made a ton of money, had all the cars and all the houses and all that. And then at the end of his life, he kind of reflected on it and realized that it was all wrong. But that's not really the journey.
No. Shlomo HaMelech, when Shlomo became Shlomo, okay, he became the wisest man from day one, okay. And we talked about the flaw, about the mistake, the subjective versus the objective,
right? Okay,
or the day of his chuppah, how he chose to make something that's personal, okay, universal. So here, I mean, today we've learned some heavy duty messages, very practical. Stephen, I recorded the shiur, so it will be. Great. I don't know how long it takes to be posted, but I'll give you the link so that you can watch it.
Great, I'll watch it today. Thank you.
I may want to be putting a suit on from now on if there's a recording.
It's only for. So okay, so we just completed the first perek, B'Sha'a Tova Mutzlachat. Okay. I think we're good. I think any questions on what we've learned?
No. Perfect.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rav. Beautiful.
All right, Shavua Tov, Mazal Tov. And Bezrat Hashem, see you tomorrow, right? So we have tomorrow 11.
Tomorrow at 11.
Please ask. Okay.
Rav.
Yeah.
Did you see my message in